Hey, what's up guys, it's Lego Hobo 910 here with another Lego video, and in this video I'm reviewing set number 75211, the Imperial TIE Fighter from Solo: A Star Wars Story. So let's get right into the review. So first off, just kind of some overall thoughts about the TIE Fighter here. TIE Fighters are something Lego's made many of, except they haven't made just a regular Imperial TIE Fighter in quite a while. They made the TIE Striker from Rogue One, Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer from The Last Jedi, as well as just some First Order TIE Fighters, but it's been a long time since they've made a regular TIE Fighter. So this is actually my first ever TIE Fighter. Since when I was really young, I wasn't really into Star Wars as much as I am now. And first of all, this set looks really, really big, even though it's not that big. If you compare it to like $100 sets like the Sanctum Sanctorum Showdown from Infinity War, it's nearly the same size if you were just to measure it as a box. But it's actually a lot of empty space, creating kind of this illusion of giganticness. I'm not sure if that's a word, but I'm going to use it. So it makes this $70 set seem a lot more expensive and big and really cool to have. And most of that mass comes from these giant wings, as it should. And even though they're very skinny, they're fairly durable, unless if you're like dropping this thing on the ground, they'll be fine. They do have a bit of wobble there, as you can see, but it helps kind of, that's just kind of the nature of the connection that it has. Plus, that way they won't just kind of smash off there if it was just connected with normal bricks. I'll show you that connection in a bit. And these wings look real good with the 6 spokes going out from the center, as well as the kind of circle in the center, even though it's actually a octagon, not a circle. Then it has some grill plates there within a circular tile, with then kind of the smaller spokes there. And I also love the use of the roller skate pieces there. It just adds a little bit of extra detail. And then the other wing, of course, is identical. Now I'm going to take off this wing. Sometimes they can be a bit hard to come off. As you can see, I did break it a little bit here, knocked off this piece taking it off, but you're generally not going to be taking off the wings. And there's 4 clips there, and then they used 2 of those trapdoor pieces, and then the clips just connect to where they hinge normally on the trapdoor, so it just clips in like that with a fairly nice sturdy connection. And then they've really kind of feathered this in. They didn't just kind of make it perfect right angles. They have these slopes with some gray ingots. And then even on the bottom, they have a few bits of slopage. And then on the sides, they use kind of these clips to give these, they look kind of like locking mechanisms, airlock type things. But they look really good and carry it in with then a bit of extra kind of depth there. And of course, it's the same on the other side. And then they used some of these, I'm not exactly sure what to call them, these kind of triangle pieces with one stud and the little bump to give it a bit more of a circular look using triangles. My one complaint with this is the center does look kind of more angular than it should. It's not really a perfect sphere. But then again, in Lego, that's kind of hard to get. And then using large dish pieces like this help, as well as the big printed one on top. And if these decide that they're going to pop out, well, they were deciding that they're popping out there, so I guess I'm just going to show you to them. There are these bolt shooters, and it comes with 1 extra. There's the one I fired off, the 1 extra, and then there's still 1 more in there. And it fires off 2. And there's kind of a controversy with Lego TIE Fighters, where they put these as red bolts, when it's actually, when TIE Fighters actually fire green, making the blast color inaccurate. But if you look on TIE Fighters, it has red dots there where they come out kind of like looking like the muzzles of the guns are heating up. So you can either have it look more accurate on display here by having it red, or you can have it fire more accurately. I would kind of prefer green, but then again, I understand why they did red, so I kind of have mixed feelings about it. But if you want to fire an accurate color and you have some green ones lying around, which are a lot more rare than red ones, so it'll be kind of hard to get, you could replace them. But for display, this does look a lot better. And then on the back here, you have the engine, which looks really layered and looks kind of cool. Although the back of TIE Fighters don't really have this layerage, but I understand it because the dishes, the way they just connect, they do that. And you could pop this whole thing off if you want, but I don't see why you would want to. But you could. And then going back around to the front, the top here with that dish I showed you earlier can open up another one of those trapdoor pieces. And then the front can open up, leaving this kind of large canopy. That's what it looks like with just the top open. And that's what it looks like with just the front open. It looks really dark in there and you can't even see the pilot. And then it uses a droid torso here as a steering yoke, which you can then just tilt forward. And it has a little clip there, and you can pull the pilot out. But there's actually no studs for connection. It's just tiles and then a grill plate in the back. I'm just going to get a bit more light there so you can see that. And then they built up some armrest type things with cheese slopes. But you would think he would fall out and rumble around easily. But if you just push the steering yoke back, as you can see, he doesn't really move around much. And I didn't connect that back real good when I put it on there the last time. And then you can close it up, and that's about it for the TIE Fighter. For minifigures, we're going to start with our main hero here, Han Solo, in an Imperial uniform. I've seen the movie, so I'm not going to spoil if either it's when he was an Imperial or if he is in disguise. You can watch the movie to find out yourself, or ask someone who's seen Solo, or I don't know, use that magical thing, the interwebs. He has the long blaster rifle type of blaster for Star Wars, and then has kind of an Imperial driver or officer hat there, except that a bit extra molded on for the visor piece there, as well as you can see those little bumps on the side where you could connect a extra kind of goggles or visor piece on. And then he has some kind of faded, dusty sand green printing there on the front for his kind of armor pieces, as well as on the knee pads there, and belt with a bit of speckling of silver in, and that's just a kind of black belt printing. And then moving around to the back, he has this little cape raincoat type thing, which is made out of a papery material. I don't understand why they used the old papery material instead of the new cloth material. I guess it maybe kind of has more, kind of stays in that position better and looks more raincoat-like, but I would have preferred if they used the newer cloth material. And it just has a hood printed on there, which you obviously can't put up since it's just printed. And then if we take off his helmet here, you can see his alternate face, but first let's check out his face in more detail there. And he's just kind of smirking. And then on his alternate face, it's more of a kind of angry grimace or growl type expression. And then we can just flip that up there, and that's what the back looks like. Here we have Tobias Beckett, who has kind of a similar outfit there with the sand green plating and belt, except he's wearing his raincoat more like a trench coat, and so it's printed on, kind of covering the printing, as well as around the back here, where you can't see the armor plating anymore, you just see the coat. And he has these two silver blasters, the smaller pistol type. And if we move those down, you can see his front printing a bit better. And you can see all sorts of straps and stuff along his legs and waistline. And then he wears the standard kind of Imperial officer hat there. And I like the way it kind of covers his face. They printed his face kind of high up so it covers a bit of his eyes. Just looks kind of funny. It also reminds me of how in the original trilogy, the officers, their hats always went over their eyes so you can't see them. And then if we pull that off, there's his face with a lot of stubble printing, as well as some lining, and his beautiful mustache and goatee. Next up, we have the Mimban Stormtrooper, who looks really cool. It's basically a gray Stormtrooper within this cool tan and dark gray, kind of black colored camo. Underneath, it just has a similar printing design to the Stormtroopers, where it's the, has the chest plate and then the belly area, similar leg printing, except with this cool camo printed over all of it, as well as on top of the helmet there. And then he has the just kind of standard blaster rifle size, as well as the raincoat, which is going to kind of struggle to flip up. And they carried that camo printing around the back as well. And then if we take off the helmet, once again it's just the generic clone face. Then the blandest but still a useful minifigure out of the set here is the TIE Pilot. And for some reason they still feel the need on the helmets to leave this blank, open back. I feel like they should stop doing that because it just looks horrible. Like on the old heads where it was kind of wearing a black ski mask, or on the really old heads where it was just plain black. That was covered and it looked fine. Except now that they just use the, once again, generic clone faces, it just looks really, really bad. And then, once again, just generic TIE Fighter pilot there with the breathing apparatus on the front, the belt, the kind of lining there on the pants. He just has the very, very smallest gun. And then his helmet up there just has the silver printing on it, as well as kind of light gray. and then just a bit of printing on the back of his kind of armor. Overall, I really like this set, and it's a great opportunity to finally get just a normal TIE fighter, as well as having a cool new Solo and Imperial outfit, and Tobias Beckett, kind of a bland, generic TIE fighter pilot, but still useful, and this really cool looking Mimban Stormtrooper. That's all, and peace.